Today, we shall be discussing democracy and good governance in Nigeria. We shall be looking at the challenges and prospects, and we won't be doing this alone. We've got our guest, Chime Emmanuel, a political public affairs analyst that will be doing justice to us. Chime, good evening and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good evening, guys.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, let's just dive right into the conversation for tonight. Of course, you rightly mentioned democracy and good governance in Nigeria. Let's start first by describing what democracy is. Do you think, with the current government that we practice in Nigeria, do you think we are really going through what democracy is said to be?
Okay, I think when you talk about democracy, you simply talk about a government being set up by the people and for the interest of the people. Okay, and so when the government is assumed to be set up by, let's say, individuals and perhaps serving the interest of a few, then that's not actually what democracy ought to be. Democracy is actually meant to be a government, being constituted by the entire people, all right? And so when the people constitute the government serves the interest of the people. That's actually when we say that democracy is actually in place. But if not so, we may say that what is happening over there now, I think what we have now is just commonly civil rulership. It's not about democracy here at all. I think commonly, if you go to Burkina Faso today, I think what they are practicing is democracy. Why do I say so? Today you will say that those guys are being ruled by a military dictator, you may call dictator, right? But a military dictator who is now giving them what democracy ought to be in the real sense of it. So what do we call that? And so that's why we begin to hear things like that Africa cannot develop with democracy, that democracy cannot help Africa, that before Africa will be mature for democracy, that military should be able, to take over, fix things in place, then we'll now begin to talk about price of democracy for now. And perhaps if you take what is happening, take it side by side, what is happening in over there at Burkina Faso, and you proxy to that is happening down here in Nigeria in the real sense, then you begin to think that over there at Burkina Faso becomes better. But meanwhile here we have men in Barbariga, men in their in their dantiki parading up and down as per saying we are Democrats. But the other way around, you discover that these are men that are actually serving their pecuniary interest and nothing but their pecuniary interest.
All right, so looking at Nigeria, the giant of Africa, and how long we've been in democracy, practicing democracy, one would think that at this age and time, Nigeria would do better in democracy. Now, this begs the question, what could you say are the challenges facing democracy in Nigeria?
Okay, one of them basically is that we have succeeded in Nigeria, in developing a very strong and powerful individuals than having powerful institutions. All right? Yeah. And so once our institutions are that so weak, then we're not going to get it right until we begin to strengthen our institutions. Say, for instance, our police is not independent. I'm talking of our police today. It's not independent. Go to the that of judiciary, it is not independent. Go to that of INEC, the electoral umpire, it is not independent. Go to where do we call? They are not independent. All right. So they only go by the dictates of he who pays the piper, dictates the tune. They only go by, whatever the paying master, decides, then they get to do it. And that's why today in Nigeria, you commit whatsoever. For instance, quoting the governor of Zamfara State, sitting governor today, he rightly told us some time back, he said that should be sometime last year, he told us that at the time they were canvassing up and down, chasing bandits that are bedeviling the state, Zamfara State. He said they were able to capture some guys among them. And so the police kept custody of them, then preparing that the following day, the government will appear in court, prosecuting the guys. Only but for the government to come to the court the following day, asking police to provide those guys. And police now told them that they have released them that same night. So what happened? They said they received call from above. Where is above? They said they received call from Abuja. And so they released them. I mean, a single call from one single fellow at Abuja have now collapsed the entire modus operandi of a system. And so if we keep having it this way, then there is no democracy in Nigeria. That's exactly what it means. who've just succeeded in building mafia group, all right, who are, deciding whatever they so wish to do, and they carry it out and nobody questions them. In fact, if you even try to question them, then it becomes an enemy of the state, not their own enemy, an enemy of the state. For instance, see what is happening in the life of our dear Senator, sitting Senator Natasha Akpotiuduaghan. And so you discover that Senator Natasha rightly accused an individual, the Senate president, and say this man did so and so. Everybody knows what she accused him of. And so the next thing is the government of the federation, federal government, the presidency, now prosecuted, filed suit on defamation against Natasha, defamation against the persons of Akpabio and that of Yaya Bello, the former governor of Kogi State. And so we begin to ask, from when have defamation become the business of federal government? If I defame you, take me to court, as simple as ABC.
It's an individual.
It's an individual. So you now discover that it's about a particular group of people who are now using the auspices of the government, the privileges of having access to the government powers and what have you that comes with the government, now using it against whomsoever that is so wish to use it against. So whenever you speak against those that belong to that particular class, it becomes a great enemy to the class. And they will use whatever that they have to bring you down. If you want to know where they are practicing democracy, take what is happening in America. That's a template. Of course, that's where we copied presidential system of government. We brought it down here. Are you aware that President Trump today is being diagnosed currently of vein condition? Yes. That is affecting his leg. Part of his leg is now swelling up in kind of. Because the thing now, it has some effect that blocked flow of blood, flow of fluid, within his leg region. And so it becomes a condition. Now, how do we know down here in Nigeria? It's very open. These are people that are running their system in opendential note. All right? It's very open. The system requires that you are a public servant. We should know about you. We should know whatever that you're doing. And the president did not left America to go to Nigeria or to go to wherever part of Europe or to go to wherever part of Asia to go just because everything that has to do with his health system is supposed to be classified. No, he didn't do that. It was being diagnosed over there at US. And so whatever treatment they're going to give to him is yet there at US. So what we are practicing today is no, it's not. It's not democracy.
Okay, can good governance really exist in a democracy where you had pointed out that corruption is inevitable?
There is no how good governance can be there, because if good governance will be seen in place, then accountability will be seen in place at first. All right? But whereby you cannot hold anybody to account. Should you talk of, hey, there's president, you rightly mapped out 21 billion naira to renovate someone's private residence, the VP's residence. 21 billion naira. When we have a national hospital at Abuja that do not have common paracetamol, according to the former president's wife, Aisha Buhari, paracetamol is not found there. Do you know what that 21 billion naira will give to us? Do you know how much that was being used to create that the power system we have over there at Aba today? Geometric. That was just 10 billion naira.
So we'll have two of that.
God bless you. And we still have extra money left behind. Do you know how much we budgeted for Hajj? Last year Hajj. Do you know how much we budgeted? That was over 90 billion naira. Do you know that 90 billion naira would have given us about 9 states having geometrics running at par with the epileptic power system that we have today, whose grid, national grid, is always collapsing every market day. And so you discover that we did not have people who know how to put their priorities in a right order, because they did not do it in order to benefit the people. They do whatever they so wish to do just for whatsoever reason that benefits them. Now, someone will tell you that he used over 21 billion to renovate a house. I wonder who is living in that particular house. And meanwhile, after renovating that VP's house, he still have to travel. I mean, the president have to still leave that VP's house and even leave his own at Bodilon over there in Lagos. Left his own that was being renovated with billions of naira that belongs to Nigerian people. And he left all this and traveled over to Paris to go and evaluate his, performance in the last 2 years.
With all this that has been said, the failure of the Nigerian democracy, is it based on the bad leadership that we have going on, or is because we have weak political institutions?
No, just like we're telling you that when our institutions are very weak, then there is no how you can have accountability. There's no how you can now have strong leadership, except to have somebody who is willing, who is sacrificial enough to come up and have the political will, deploy that will into action, and begin to strengthen these institutions. Give these institutions their independency. All right? Give them the strength that they need to work. Then teach them how to work and work independently. For instance, go over there to US. For instance, US again. Donald Trump of US cannot leave US and get to anywhere without hearing from the FBI. And if the FBI say, no, do not do this, he will simply do not do it. But in our own scenario here, I mean, reverse becomes the case. That the president say you want to go to so and so place, and they told him no. So if you go there, no, things are going to be this way, things are going to be the other way around. You don't even dare to say that.
Do you want to lose your job?
God bless you. I know. I'm even surprised that you know about that. And so you discover that when you talk about, once he say you want to go to so and so place, even if it warrants killing the entire people there for him to land there, go and clear them off. That's exactly what we are practicing here. So in other words, it's about a powerful individual, not a powerful system. And so when we have that, we cannot get it right. Because that powerful individual will be doing the wrong thing, and nobody, no institution can stand strong to now say, no, you are doing the wrong thing. Let's get it this way. You are going wrong way. How many of our leaders have we taken to prison? Or have we tried and tried them effectively? Begin to talk of when we have weak institutions. Part of the factors that makes us to have weak institutions. When there is an opportunity, employment opportunity in certain institutions, say in the judiciary, for instance, then we discover that our politicians begin to share slots. Now, after sharing those slots, you discover that they begin to fit in their cronies into the various vacancies right there. And so by the time they are fixing their cronies, they may be the undermerited amongst those that applied for the job. But because they are coming from so and so link, then they are going to be given the opportunity. In fact, in occasions, some of them do not pass through interviews. Some of them do not even know when the vacancy were being declared. They're only being given signal to go over there to go and take the appointment letter, and they begin to function. And by the time, for instance, in the judiciary, for instance, you take to our secret police service. For instance, you go to our EFCC, and by the time maybe EFCC now take anyone to court and come with their public legal practitioner to court to come and prosecute whomsoever, then you discover that whomsoever is going to now bring in standard legal practitioners who owns their own private chambers and who are always there in court, challenging cases and winning cases. And by the time they will have face to face with these ones who are undermerited by the time they were being employed, then you see them downsize them. You see them mess them up. Then you discover that we'll keep losing at the face of fighting corruption. Because those that are fighting, those that are standing to project, to prove that this person is actually a criminal, they cannot prove it. They can't. Because the ones that are coming to prove it, they are so weak. Right. They don't have what it takes to prove it. And the person that is coming to defend the criminal is so strong. He's well learned, he's well tutored, he's well informed, well equipped than the one that is the one that is projecting.
Okay, so talking about good governance, we've talked about democracy and good governance in Nigeria. We've talked about politicians and the constitution. Can we now take a look at the judiciary system? How can the judiciary system uphold the democracy in Nigeria?
When you talk about judiciary in Nigeria, it's not different from every other system in Nigeria. You should know that, right? So what is affecting judiciary is affecting the education, it's affecting the health system, it's affecting every other areas.
But it's
Our agri
supposed to
sector in
be an
Nigeria, our
independent-
security sector in
But
Nigeria.
it's supposed to be independent, you know, executive.
There you go.
the
Just like
law.
I told you, that none of these areas are independent at all. You should know that. If any of them is independent, why is Mahmoud still there today? Spearheading INEC. After telling us that we spent over 300 and something billions of naira preparing for election 2023 general election. And he told us, according to the guideline, he told us, in line and in connection with the 1999 Constitution as amended in 2022, you know, providing in the act that INEC was going to make use of beavers and that beavers will transmit from the polling unit, and INEC brought that into their guideline for the election in 2023. And they now told us that once you vote, right from there, there's going to be transmission of the result. Now, what did we later heard? We later heard from INEC that there was glitches. How? He said you did 3 different elections at the same time, at the same polling unit, and you were able to transmit all other 2, but only 1 could not go. What happened? So what happened? What worked there wasn't that the beavers was not working, but what failed to work there is INEC that failed to work, and intentionally failed to work because of a particular already set goal to be achieved. Otherwise, as of today, INEC chairman was supposed to have been in prison explaining what rightly happened. And otherwise, whatsoever that have caused that glitch of last election would have been, there would have been a kind of forensic investigation. And by now would have heard that it had been fixed before now. It had been fixed. What we are now being faced with, remember, is 2027. Yeah. The campaign is all over the place now, including our sitting president have left governance for a long time. It's now focused at campaign for 2027. Right? And so we are supposed to have heard that so and so thing that lured us into what we called glitches in the last election. That it had been found, it had been fixed. But nobody have talked about that. In fact, the only thing we are now hearing is that INEC chairman now telling us that those who do not have voters card, that they will be allowed to vote in the forthcoming election because of a particular interest. So when you have such system, do you think we can get it right?
All right. Nigeria is a religious country. You know, it's either you're a Muslim or a Christian and any other religion that you may be practicing. Do you think the religious bodies in Nigeria are doing enough to manage or uphold democracy? Because we know how most of these political leaders, how they publicly go against the law and they still come to identify with you, and some churches or some bodies will still uphold them and prophesy and say things. Do you think the religious bodies are doing enough to uphold democracy as well?
Okay, I think you should know church is supposed to actually, or religious bodies are supposed to actually stay by the side entirely.
Okay.
And allow politics to play. And be governed by whatever is playing in politics today. But the other way around, our politicians have succeeded in holding grip the religious organizations. And they have succeeded as well in unleashing the infirmity of hunger on everybody. And so that hunger has been a tool whereby whatever they demand you should do, simply you get it done. Before you begin to see a particular man of God or thereabout prophesying on somebody you know, that this person have done a whole lot, that even the court is tired of, that including EFCC could not finish up with round up with the case against this person. But the man of God will now be releasing that you are going to do more. I see you entering the higher office. I see you flying everywhere and what have you. And so for goodness sake, you begin to ask, is this person speaking for God, or the person is speaking because the hunger in the stomach is, controlling the person's mindset? And so you discover that hunger has been one of the major factors. Remember, Nyesom Wike, the sitting minister of FCT, rightly said, that should be around 4 months ago, he rightly said that the North are just misbehaving that allowed them. He said, by the time hunger will deal with them, in the next election, if you give them 2,000 naira, they will vote for you. So what does that tell you? It's a weapon. It's a tool with which to control whomsoever. And so whenever the light of money is being shined on you, you simply do exactly what they want you to do. And so when you take it to what is happening in the north, then you begin to discover that there is a different orientation over there in the north. When you talk about the Muslim world, a different orientation is there. And that orientation is that they want it to be all about Muslim. Once it is not a Muslim, forget about it. You cannot give us what we want. That was why we had our former vice president, that's Atiku Abubakar, rightly say prior to 2023 election, he rightly told the Northerners that the only person that can be the president of Nigeria and of course lead the North as a president is a president of Northern extraction. That's the best for the North. He said in clear terms, it wasn't with ambiguity. He said that a Northerner do not need an Igbo presidency, do not need a Yoruba presidency. And so when you begin to hear that kind of language, that's exactly what is coming from the North. And most of the imams from the North, as at then, prior to 2023 election, rightly said that even if it is two cow, but they are Muslims that appears on the ballot, the North is going to support them.
Yeah, hopefully that thought is shifted now, because this ADC party that's going in now, if another candidate that's not from the North is there, hopefully they will put their heads together.
No, want to believe that sort rhetoric is being watered down by the reason of the harsh realities that we've seen in the within these 2 years plus now. Yeah. Because let's say that where the heat of the hunger have bedeviled the most is yet there in the North. Even when the Muslim ticket was meant actually to favor the North the most, but today they are suffering the most. It's quite unfortunate anyway. But I just want to wish that in the forthcoming election, we'll do the right thing.
Let's look at youth participation, because that's like the greater number of the electorate when it comes to situations like this. The youth participation, is it really, are youth rather involved in the democratic processes of the Nigerian government? And if so, is it even enough to drive change, the participation that we are getting from the youth?
To actually do enough or a lot in the political sector, it takes a lot as well. For instance, you see Obi today moving around. It's not something he started today. It's something he started long time ago. And it's something perhaps he have invested in himself. He have invested in his business. And today he's moving around from places to places. You see him here today. The next day you see him at the other tail end. And so you begin to ask, is he a spirit? No, he's not a spirit. He's making use of aircraft. He's flying in the air here and there. In other words, it is exorbitant for him to make those moves. I don't know if you're getting me here. It's quite exorbitant for him to make those moves. Now, for instance, he rightly shared, he said prior to burial of Buhari, he said that the students at UNN mailed him, crying and begging him to come to their aid, that they are having an issue in their system. They said they needed about 40 million naira to fix it in dental department, right? Now he said because of the burial at hand, he said he failed to attend to them, so that letting all have, let certain things not clash. This political season, a lot of people will misquote him and what have you. And so he said he waited, and until after 3 days of the burial, he said he have attended to them and of course have donated 15 million naira to them. Now tell me how many of our youths are being equipped with that kind of amount of money to be moving from here to there to touch lives, as to prove that of a truth you have something to offer. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yeah, but sorry to come in. If not for the sake of time, do you think should youth focus mainly on money if they want to be part of the democracy system?
They shouldn't, but they need to gain influence.
Okay.
Understand that. They need to get influence. For instance, we have a sitting governor in Enugu today, right? And the youths are reacting. The youths are already reacting over the newly released list of commissioner nominees that the governor rightly released. That was as of yesterday, right? Then you discover that the commissioner, the one that resigned, happens to be a former governor's daughter, right? Now, the ones he released, also amongst them are sons and daughters, sons of former this, former that, former senator, former governor, former this, former that. Okay. Their sons. And the youths are now reacting and asking, where are those youths who were sleeping at INEC office, demanding that the governor should be given certificates of return while after the election in the last time?
Okay.
And so those ones now are not being brought into the circle. So that's where we have a problem.
All right.
We need that influence.
Thank you so much for your contribution and your insight on this particular subject matter.
Save Nature TV, news in your pocket.